Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're new to my channel, I welcome you all. I'm Aspie. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness and sharing my life stories with Aspergers Syndrome and the like. I also take you on a journey of some fun and games along the way, along with the tips and advice that is included inside the general health versus your mental health of whatever you may be struggling on. And I'm hoping to be your advocate, mentor, support person to bring out some messages of hope and everything else in between of that. So as you're aware, obviously I am trying to get as much stuff done, be it through the Vlogsmas kind of videos that are as of December, and hopefully for January some of the health related topics, some will be health related in a way of December as well anyways, and basically just sharing out what I feel to share out with you all. So in this one's going to be broken down to two parts for this autistic diagnostics, one for teens and one for adults. And as a disclaimer, as always, I'm no medical doctor, I'm just your normal everyday Joe vlogs. So if you see any warning signs and symptoms from the past or present videos that you may have watched and seen that's through you or your loved one, seek professional help for yourself or your loved one, or even seek professional advice for yourself or your loved one, because I don't forever condone self-harm. So as we know, as we age into years of life through, you know, like little kid stage, baby, teen, adult, you know, elderly, whatever, that is sometimes it's really hard for many of us to come to grips when we have a certain diagnosis going on that we try to cipher out and whatever else it may be. And for everyone it will be different at the age and stage of life of the diagnostics. And bear in mind also, when it comes down to diagnosing people with autism especially, that it can vary from person to person of their characteristic traits that they shine out, because everyone's different. Even if we are put into a category right now as autism spectrum disorders instead of, you know, autism versus Aspergers syndrome, and that diagnostic material tool book that, you know, dietitian and everybody else likes to use. So I'm going to bring out some tips and advice right now to you all, and hopefully you'll enjoy this so you can get to know me and others like me. So smash the like button, and also just to bear in mind also, I have done a video I think about my diagnostic story about Aspergers syndrome somewhere, so if you would like to see that, comment below and I'll link it in the description versus on the I-bar on the top right hand corner of the screen. So let's begin this. As said, if your older teenage child is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, the autism diagnosis can help you get the services and funding to support your child's development. And bear in mind, I forgot to mention that if and when you do get a diagnosis, every diagnosis criteria will be different in different countries, here say in a way of support services, funding, etc. So as I said before, that, or may not have said it before, but here in New Zealand we are limited at the moment with some services and funding here for us autistics, so therefore there is still a bit more to go with it, but unless otherwise I'll be bringing out maybe stuff through the UK, US and other areas if you hear some of this stuff that may, you know, refer to you. So let's get this started. Why some children may get a autism diagnosis. As I said, many children with autism spectrum disorders, however, are diagnosed in early childhood, but then it's not always the case. For others, the signs may not be quite as clear and coherent, and might not be until the primary school, even the secondary school, that the question of ASD may likely to come up. During these years, social and behavioural differences can become more obvious as children respond to the social and educational challenges of school. Signs of ASD in older children and teenagers can include such as having difficulty staying on task, understanding and following instructions, making friends and keeping friends, and also basically also in saying this, knowing their personal boundaries and keeping their distance, you know, of the personal space between you when you're communicating or what have you. What an autism diagnosis means for your child. You might wonder whether getting and having an autism spectrum disorder diagnosis in later childhood or adolescence will make a difference to your child. The diagnosis itself won't change your child or the way that you may think or feel about them. You know, a diagnosis in itself will describe your child's abilities, difficulties, and means of their needs. And it can help guide treatment and intervention for your child and help your child get the right services and funding to support their development. For example, maybe extra help at school when they're struggling with their, you know, writing, or just struggling with understanding kind of instruction like stuff. How autism spectrum disorder is diagnosed in older children and teenagers. There's no single test for diagnosing with autism spectrum disorders in children and teenagers. Instead, diagnosis is based on watching how your child plays and interact with others. That's how your child is developing now. And also you're having a medical team alongside you, interviewing you and your child when they interact with you. Reviewing your child's developmental history, that is how your child has developed in the past. Basically, diagnosis usually involves many specialists and professionals testing and assessing your child. This is called a multidisciplinary assessment. When lots of specialists work with your child, it gives your child the best chance of an accurate diagnosis. It will then also help to develop the best treatment plan available to, you know, help them with their best means of needs. A multidisciplinary team will usually include a pediatrician, obstetrician, child psychiatrist, a psychologist, and speech pathologist. It may also include other professionals like an occupational therapist. The professionals might want to see you and your child several times a day in their office, or even maybe in your personal home or school, but bear in mind when saying this, if they do, they should be by rights giving you a phone call and communicate to you when if so that they are doing this. They'll ask you a series of questions about your child, what your child does, and how they are now and how they were in the past. They will then measure your child's strengths and weaknesses in areas like thinking, moving, communicating, and so on and so forth. They will then watch how they'll interact and play with others. Professionals might also, as I said, visit your child's school to see how they interact with other children in the classroom and out on the playground, whatever time of day it is. They might get your child's teacher to do a questionnaire so they can get a sense of your child's behaviour in the classroom, in the playground, and with their school peers. Most children will also have a language assessment by a speech pathologist. When diagnosing ASD, professionals like psychiatrists and psychologists will use the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders of the DSM-5 that's recently been released. This tool breaks down the signs and symptoms of ASD into certain categories. It also states how many of these signs must be present in each of those categories to get a definite diagnosis of ASD for your child. Funding for assessment and diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder. You can have your child assessed for autism spectrum disorders through the public or private healthcare system in your own country, regardless where it may be. Public assessment services are funded through your state or territory government and are often run through hospitals or healthcare services. These are offered at no cost to families, but many have a long waiting list, so bear in mind with this if you do it. The other option is to be accessed privately. If your child is under 13 years of age, a pediatrician or psychiatrist can refer you to another professional like a psychologist or speech pathologist to confirm these diagnoses. But there's still an out-of-pocket expense, and you'll need to cover the full cost of any more assessment sessions that needs to take place. When you're just starting whether to go through the public or private care system for assessment, it can help to ask a series of questions such as, is there a waiting list? If so, how long will it take before we get to our first appointment? How long will it take until the assessment is finished and we get the results? How many sessions will you need with me and my child? Can I claim anything back from Medicare? Can you give me an estimate of my out-of-pocket expenses? Does it cost extra for the report about my child's results? A diagnosis of ASD for your older or teenage child can be a big shock and surprise to you. You might find it helpful to share your experiences and get the right support from other parents in a forum or obviously on Facebook pages to get in touch with parents of children with ASD. Talking with your child about an autism diagnosis. If your child is in the process of being diagnosed or has a new autism spectrum diagnosis, you might worry about what and how much to tell them. Your child will probably have questions about what's going on, why it's happening, so on and so forth. Their questions can guide what you tell them. Just answer them as honestly as you can at a level that they'll understand. However, older children and teenagers often realize they are different in some ways from other children in their age group, so don't be afraid to talk to them about this. You can focus on your child's strengths, for example, that they have an excellent memory, is good with numbers, or is just very kind with animals, as well as the things that they find challenging, like making friends, keeping friends, so on and so forth. All children are different and will react differently to being diagnosed. Your child might feel relieved that they now have a diagnosis. They can use this diagnosis as a tool to understand many parts of themselves and to help with the things that they'll find difficult. Or your child might need time to come to terms with this new form of information. They might even feel scared, overwhelmed, etc., etc. Some older children and teenagers might find it difficult to adjust to having a diagnosis. Children who were diagnosed when they were younger have grown up with their diagnosis as part of who and what they are. But an older child can feel confused about who they are now. For example, they might feel split between a new special needs culture and their own self, old self. Talking with other people. Talking about your child's diagnosis with other people might feel strange and hard at first. You might wonder who to tell and what to say. These decisions, however, are up to you. But getting things out in the open can really help you and your child to get together and work together as a team. Well, this quickly ends a real short brief overview about autistic diagnosis and teens. Smash the like button if you like this, or comment below. Feel free to, share your story about your own diagnostics if you want to, based on how you got diagnosed, what age, and also maybe, how you came to terms with it. Feel free to share these videos around to family and friends. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, if you want to join me on my journey right now. As well as in saying this, I do this usually on the daily, but it may change after New Year's period 3 times a week, but don't forever fret. I'll be floating around in some groups on Facebook, supporting you guys, rooting for you guys, and whatnot. Also, feel free, if you have decided to basically subscribe, to turn on the notification bell, because you can keep up to date with that, and also by following me through my AspieAnswers or Facebook, Twitter page on that, because I usually post on those to let you guys know what's going on. So thanks for the support, thanks for watching, do what you love what you do. Until next time, Aspie signing out, and I'll see you again. Ciao for now. How you can